Retail Confectioners International Annual Convention is the place where candy makers from around the world gather to share and learn the latest techniques in candy making. The Food Channel was there to capture every moment of the 90th annual event in Lexington, Kentucky. Join RCI members as they taste and tour their way through Kentucky, teach one another their latest techniques, and discover the latest trends in chocolates. What's the best part of a candy convention? Tasting all the new flavors. Here are some of the sweet treats that tantalized our taste buds in Lexington.
We actually came up with a new item, which is a peanut butter and caramel mixed. It's new and innovative. No one else in the industry is doing it, where you have two centers and a truffle bowl. This one happens to have the added fun of, as you're eating, the salt from the peanut butter comes through to the caramel, and it gives that taste that everybody's looking for. I define it personally that when I'm done eating the piece, I have the flavored chocolate in my mouth, not sweet. When I put it into my mouth, it has to have that snap, that temper, and it has to have that creamy, smooth melting point. So there are a lot of chocolates that claim chocolatey flavor. You'll know the difference.
A lot of new things happening with flavor. People are adding spices to caramel. They're adding fruits. Quite a few different things going on. In fact, right here we have our licorice caramels. It is a caramel though, it's not licorice, but if you like licorice, you'll love the flavor of it. It's a very strong caramel flavor, or licorice flavor, but it's a soft, chewy caramel.
We got to be kids in the candy store this week, touring the kitchens of two world-renowned candy makers in Lexington, Kentucky, Rebecca Ruth's Chocolates and Old Kentucky Chocolates. Join us for a behind-the-scenes peek.
Old Kentucky Chocolates in Lexington, Kentucky. And I started in business in 1964. In 1961, I was called to the service for the second time, and I cooked and baked in a large mess hall. We fed like 4,650 people a meal. After that term in service, I bought a bakery in Frankfort, Kentucky, where you all just been. And I stayed there 5 years. After a year, I realized I had everything to make candy except chocolate. So one day a salesman came in and I said to him, "Do you know where a chocolate shop is for sale?" And he said he did. And make a long story short, I bought it on a Sunday out of bankruptcy. Moved it there, and in 1969 we came to Lexington, and I realized that candy had a lot of shelf life, and in the bakery you had to do everything every day. And so we made complete scratch. Everything's made from scratch, and we do the candy the same way. Well, our specialty is bourbon cherries, bourbon truffles, bourbon creams. We make a Kentucky Derby mint, and then we make an old-fashioned pull candy that we bought from the Colonel Sanders, who's the Kentucky Fried Chicken. And his mom loved hand-pulled creams, and she told him, she said, "I've got to have those creams." So he bought a little factory and started making them, and then we were able to buy it. We sold these to the Kentucky Fried Chicken franchises for many years. The head engineer of Kentucky Fried Chicken's daughter went to the university, and we met them through that, and he was in charge of when they decided to sell, that he knew we were in the candy business. We worked out a deal.
started in 1919 by Rebecca Gooch and my mother, Ruth Hanley. And mother got married in 1924, and I was born in 1927, and my father died in 1927. And so mother, when she got married, she sold out the business to Rebecca. Well, in 1929, Rebecca wanted to get married, and she sold the whole business back to my mother, and it's been in our family exclusively since 1929. Well, of course, we're known for the bourbon. It was my mother's recipe. So somebody told her in 1936 that Frankfurt was celebrating its sesquicentennial, and some of her friends told her the two best tastes in the world were Kentucky bourbon and Ruth's chocolates. And so said they ought to see if you can combine them. So mother worked on them and combines them, and that's where they came from.
And in 1919, when we started in the business, we were started by two women, Rebecca and Ruth, and at that time, women did not yet have the right to vote. They also named the business after their first names, which is more of a maternal style of naming a business, which the fashion of the day would have been to name it the last name and Sons, but they use their first name, so it's very unique.
You may be born a chocoholic, but you have to learn how to make great chocolates. More than 200 candy makers descended upon Lexington to learn the latest techniques. Check it out.
We always say candy it's a small pleasure, it's a simple pleasure. A little bit of sweetness in your diet is not going to cause obesity. Matter of fact, there are lots of studies that indicate that if you're happy with your diet, you're satisfied with the food you're eating, you tend not to overeat. And being satisfied is having a little bit of sweetness in your diet.
Chocolate remains very steady in good times and bad, truthfully. But there have been waves during this time that I've been working where more people are interested in the creative part of the chocolate. And then that kind of wanes a little bit, and then a whole new generation of people come in and everything is new to them. And that's what makes the teacher's life exciting.
We're here looking at that, trying to get some inroads and learn something about the industry and learn some more trends about where we need to move forward, and especially, educating some people about how great nuts are in candies and in chocolates, and especially how great black walnuts are in candies and chocolates.
We find that consumers are really looking for a better quality chocolate, better quality item. They're willing to spend up a little bit just for the fact that they're treating themselves or someone else. They're planning events and parties, and chocolate's all a part of that.
Well, we're a family-owned business. Myself and my two brothers own the business, and we've been making candy for about 35 years. We started out making candy using my grandmother's recipes. In fact, the caramels here on display today are based off my grandmother's recipe.
Chocolate actually is pretty recession-proof. It's a comfort food. People always have time and have a little bit of money for enjoyment. They like to have the things that add pleasure to their lives. And when times get tough, actually, confectionery sales do increase.
It's an event where everybody learns, they educate each other, they share ideas, and at the end of the day, everybody's really happy to get together and have a few cocktails and talk about how excited they are to be in the chocolate and candy business.
Well, I came to the United States in 1968, and I was a trained chef and pastry chef. So I guess I had a little bit of a pre-notion that I would be more trained and more knowledgeable than other people here in the United States. And when I joined this organization, the Retail Confectioner, I learned to be extremely respectful to all the members, because they really had all their own forte.
Yeah, I think so. I think I wanted to understand the technology. I wanted to understand the history of the product and the benefits. And I also wanted to understand more about what our customers' needs were in the packaging side. So by going and working in the shops and getting to know the industry, I was able to understand some of the challenges they had, which allowed us to make a more functional box and take away some of their labor burden, increase their efficiencies within their shops, and design more contemporary products.
Candy makers are some of the most creative people in the world, and we were lucky enough to see some of their creations at the RCI convention. Here are a few of their latest innovations.
Well, the population is a lot younger, more diverse, very diverse. Hispanics are 15% of the population today, and they're interested in flavors that we wouldn't have thought would be very important years ago, like tropical punch, and they call that passion fruit. And coconut is very popular, and orange. And those flavors are have a lot of interest today.
Well, we've seen a trend in weddings. Everybody's doing dessert or candy tables at the end of a wedding, so they need color. So we have the colored malt balls. We have, which is a malt ball center, dredged in a real milk chocolate and then dredged in a color that might work with the bride's color scheme. New truffles that have truffle centers and fun, colorful wrappers, so that everything just says celebrate and let's party. Well, when it comes to seasonal, we're putting more and more in added value. Gift packaging, the little penguin, the little snowman. When they're done eating the fun candy inside, they have something to save. They can bring it out every year and refill it. And again, it's that just-in-case gift you could have under the tree. If a child shows up, you can give it to a child. If an adult shows up, it's good for them as well.
The idea, there are what's called a flat sheet transfer molds, and we had seen those, but we wanted to do something different that other people didn't have. And actually a company from Europe came over and talked to us about it and showed us what they could do, and we got together and decided what we could do, and it's just been a back and forth process of coming up with something that we think we can sell.
We are commercial processors and distributors of American black walnuts, and we're here as a product line extension looking at a black walnut candy, and we're looking at the trends in the industry, talking about more natural and somewhat healthier products, and that's why we've come up with our own version of a healthier, more natural product, which is a dark chocolate covered black walnut.
A lot of research, talking with customers, different parts of the country, watching other trends in other foods develop, and then we do a lot of experimenting in our candy kitchen.
Those are some of the latest innovations at the RCI convention. See more at foodchannel.com.